everybody, welcome back to my little old channel. My name is Paula. If you're new here, I do coaching for folks like myself with symptoms of complex trauma. I will link every piece of info about my program down below. I work with folks one-on-one. However, today's video is about why it is so damn hard to just sit with your thoughts. Why is it so damn hard for us to spend times with ourselves, only ourselves, and nothing but ourselves? And I also want to talk about some other smaller moments throughout the day that I feel like we miss recognizing. And for me, a really big piece of the puzzle is knowing how to validate yourself properly throughout the day so you can actually acknowledge and see real patterns in yourself where you find it so damn hard to slow down and be present. Once we know the places where we can't be present, we can make a hell of a lot of really compassionate progress with ourselves. So probably the thing that first came to your mind is meditation. Put your hand up if you find meditation terrible. I used to have a really consistent practice, and I've now gone for months and months where I couldn't tell you the last time I sat down with nothing but like a little frequency in my ear or nothing at all. I used to do it for like a whole hour a day, so I noticed myself going in and out of my capacity to sit with absolutely no distraction. However, here's the thing, guys. Meditation is fantastic. I am never going to shit on it as a practice ever. I think it's wonderful. But it's not the only thing. And chances are, a lot of us aren't seeking to meditate in order to reach enlightenment. There's actually lots of different reasons that we might do it. And a lot of times we just want to feel like we're slowing down for a hot second. We just want to be with ourselves, nothing more, and feel like we've got a little bit more control over our lives, our inner world especially. Like we can really hear our own thoughts and not be terrified of them. So for a lot of us, experiencing that comes up throughout our day a whole bunch of times. A lot of moments where we are suddenly thrust into what it's like to just be here with ourselves. That's it. Here's some other micro moments. I'm going to refer to them as just transitions. All the little ways that we just cannot stand transitions. These are like when you've got lots of time in the really late evening, and instead of sitting with yourself, noticing what it's like to just be awake in your house, maybe as the only one awake. Things are darker. There's no screens on. We sit up for hours on our phones scrolling. Here's another really big one for me that I always found so discombobulating my entire life. It was anytime I came back home from somewhere else. Specifically, if you're coming back home, home is relatively quiet. The place you're coming from was louder. So I was in the serving industry, the tourism industry for a lot of years. And every time I would come back home, it would be deafeningly peaceful. I couldn't handle it. I felt like straight up crazy. Sometimes for hours. Get the same thing if you return from just like hanging out with your friends, being at a restaurant, and then coming home. Anything at all. It's these little tiny transitions. I also think a lot of us are feeling really out of it, just like coming home from work. No matter what your workplace is, even if it's an office, if you're a teacher, I literally don't care. Making transitions also forces us to really quickly notice changes in our brain activity, changes in our thoughts, because we're in different environments. We're trying to process that. We're in front of different people. We're trying to process that. Not only different people, but different people that we have different levels of emotional comfort with. We're making so many changes on such a micro level, mentally, in our bodies, emotionally. Everything is changing so deeply. My life genuinely got different in a more present way when I started to give myself credit for how much inner activity was happening during these daily transitions. So another way to think about this is like just speaking about the body through the language of the nervous system. The nervous system goes through a lot of waves like this, so waves of stimulus being way up here so that you can like exist in a really stimulating environment. And then we feel that drop, it's like a dopamine drop, all of that stuff when we go somewhere quieter. To really stay present through that and not immediately reach for like your phone when you're transitioning, to not immediately sit there and be like, oh my God, this is not for me, because this is the same transition that's happening when you're meditating. You're going from like a life that is whatever level of stimulating your life usually is, and then you're dropping everything, and the stimulation just goes way downhill. And your goal, really, this is what meditation is asking you to do. Can you stay present for the drop? It's like asking you to stay fully awake for the drop on a roller coaster. But the thing is, this drop in, I don't know about you guys, experienced meditators, you might know this about yourself, but anyone who has struggled meditation a lot, I want to give you a little map. For me, it's a solid 20 to 35 minutes before I feel like I finish that drop. That's a long time to try to stay present. Obviously, the average roller coaster, like that drop's only like a minute or a few seconds. So this is a hell of a ride. But start to think of it like a ride. A word that really hit home for me when someone was describing what it's like to just sit there with yourself suddenly was how confronting it is to sit in your own peacefulness. Peace is confronting, which is so paradoxical. We think it should be easy all the time. It's not. It's a really dynamic state, and we're always flowing. So I think we're always all in more need of acknowledging how much movement energetically there is in our bodies. And even finding our way to a peaceful state of being, it requires like riding some rapids and slowly staying present as the rapids get a little calmer, a little calmer, a little calmer. But you are going to be like on a wild ride on your way there. And you might not fully get there, because it's not up to you. It's not a thing to necessarily control in that sense. I think that whenever we do get to truly experience peacefulness within ourselves, it's because on all levels we've reached a place of congruency, where our body really believes that we can be peaceful now, where our mind believes it too, and our hearts believe it, however you want to think about it. All levels agree. So if you're ever not peaceful, it's not a thing to like fly around and be freaking out about. It's not a human's natural state to be peaceful 24/7. I know that that's a massive kind of like goal implicitly stated. It's all around the wellness industry, the mental health industry. I think it's even implied that like monks get there and they're just always there. And even if the latter is true for a few extremely devoted disciples, they often have very different life goals and lifestyles than the average person watching this YouTube video, okay? It's gotta be said. They had a whole different thing going on. Most of us want to get through our day in this busy, metaphorical and literal marketplace, still have relationships, and feel like we just like are processing things in a good way, like our life's not passing us by. This is a whole different goal. So the optimized human being is not peaceful all the time, is not regulated all the time, doesn't have a perfectly regulated nervous system. The point, and I hope that your goal becomes, if it's not already this, is that you experience like the whole range of your emotionality at the pace that actually works for you more and more consistently. And what that requires is attunement, actual wisdom, not force. Force is something that comes usually from our trauma wounds. Those are from trauma responses, controlling our experiences, like really craving happiness. That's actually a control symptom. We don't need happiness, y'all. We need presence through the rapids. And it's not about whether we get to like that perfect pool of stillness at the end of the rapids. That won't save you. Peace will not save you. The ability to be present will save you. So, am I sitting here saying you gotta try meditation? Nope. Am I sitting here saying you gotta stop scrolling on your phone because there's like really interesting information there in your inner world? Kinda. You don't gotta do anything. I can't make you do anything. Nor can I sit here and say that that's gonna be like the big change that makes you see the world differently and saved your life. But there is usually something really interesting. And we often just we don't have the words for it because culturally, we are not programmed to think that there's anything worthwhile in feeling like this and feeling unorganized and paying attention to that. Because we think it's disordered. You're not disordered if you are experiencing that, especially after coming from a stimulating environment and now you've hit a relatively peaceful one. You're experiencing your nervous system do what it does best, respond totally perfectly to the change in environments, and that it's coming offline. It's like a whole lot of electric discharge flowing through you. So what I do, if you're finding it really hard to sit, so if you're getting home and it's just like an energetic wall and then you feel like your body's just electric, this is where I do shaking. It's super easy. It's just like this. Do it for as long as you need. The point is that you're actually repatterning your body there because you're letting everything go and you're literally shaking it around. Bring in visualizations here. Imagine the electricity in your nervous system just dripping out your fingers, just sparking out of your mind, of letting your jaw go, all of it. Just let it all go. Just let it get out of your body. So that's one little somatic way that I do acknowledge the fact that I'm going through a transition. What I want for you guys is to acknowledge that you're going through something. When you're feeling like that, it's not you just being messed up and disordered. You're going through something. Your body does not lie. And it's going through something that, I'm not going to sit here and say it's hard. I want you to be the judge of whether it's a challenging experience for you or not to experience these transitions. Some people, once they find the language, they find them exhilarating. They're like, ooh, yeah, my body's talking to me. Thank God my body's talking to me. So it's possible to interpret them, label them as any one thing. But give them more words. Be like, ooh, it's electric here. Wow, it's energized here. Or it's really dense here. My God, I just feel like there's a fog over my eyes here. Or over my whole body. I can't even get in. I just can't. There's nothing. It's gray. It's dense. You're still getting into your body. Good job. There's literally no way to fail here. So, I hope that this validated, maybe helped you recognize if you are the type of person who feels a little off track throughout the day, especially at these key moments, and if you're someone who has trouble in quieter times. I want you to be able to give yourself more recognition for what you're really going through and what your body might be asking for in those moments. So again, if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, my pals. And if you are interested in working one-on-one, that is my wheelhouse. I do a really, really high attention style of program with people. So it's 12 sessions. They're all 2 hours of live time each. So this ain't your standard 45-minute therapy session. This is really in depth for folks with complex trauma. And as well, here's a big thing that I always wanted in care, but I could never get it. I give you my WhatsApp number when I work with you because I actually want to hear from you between sessions. I actually love to hear from you. So I offer that daily support as well in my program, which definitely is something that I never got in clinical care. So if you're wanting a more creative, somatic-y, body-based, shadow worky, I do not stray from the human shadow. I think it's really important we're allowed to be our full, sometimes very dark selves in a healing space. Then this program might just be your thing. So as always, the link will be down below. I also have a little Instagram family, and I'll link a new video up here. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you really soon.